In all honesty, if you prefer chocolate pie over a fruit pie, well, you're a heretic. Sorry. Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Duke, and I'm the Duke of Italy, and welcome back to another video. And you can't see it right now, but today we're going to be reviewing Watchmen. And this is a very interesting book. And I'm also... it's upside down. There. I'm not just going to review the book, I'm also going to review the movie. So if you want to stop before then, I'll probably include a timestamp. But just let me set up my little easel here. My older brother had a lot of these when he was little. So, I don't know. He was into art or something like that. Turns out now he's kind of a fitness junkie. But, anywho, let's get on with the review. Anyway, so this book is, it's pretty hefty, honestly. As said by my easel nearly falling down. But it's a hefty book, 12 chapters, nearly 400 pages, I think. I haven't read it in like 3 days. I haven't read any of it in like 3 days, I should say. Because of, honestly, I read this a bit before, roughly a week ago. No, Monday. Monday was the last time I read any of this. But, you'll probably watch this video tomorrow, because I'm going to probably upload it at like 9. Anywho, so, this book, so, there's two groups, the Minutemen and the Watchmen, or otherwise known as the Crime Busters. They don't really get called the Watchmen much in this book. Sorry, my hair's a little weird right there. But they don't get called Watchmen much in this book for whatever reason. I honestly think Watchmen is a clever name compared to the Minutemen, because they're like a bigger scale almost, because they have a guy called Dr. Manhattan, and I'll get to them right now. And the Watchmen members include Rorschach, Dr. Manhattan, Silk Spectre, the second one, Captain Metropolis. He's in the beginning, but he ends up leaving, I think. I forget what happens with him. And there's the comedian, who's pretty cool. There's Night Owl, the second Night Owl. He has no relation to the first Night Owl, unlike Silk Spectre being the daughter of the first Silk Spectre. There's a couple other... Ozymandias. Yes, there's Ozymandias, who I'll definitely talk about it later with some stuff in the movie. I think that's it. I probably missed one of them. My notes up here aren't that good. But the setting is it's a different world. It's in the 80s. It's written by Alan Moore, who wrote this in the 80s. And like an alternate world where the Russians have a much higher tension with America because of a victory in Vietnam. I hadn't really pieced that together until a little bit ago, but I guess that does work because they're all communists. Freaking communists. Anywho, so all the characters, they have a different worldview, which I think is really cool. Like Rorschach, he reviews no one, he thinks that no one's innocent, but he's going to save them anyways because there's worse people. And Dr. Manhattan, he's the only person in the entire group with actual powers. And so he regards himself as like how nothing really matters. He's kind of a nihilist, almost. I mean, he doesn't like kill himself because he sees like really small things like neutrinos, and you'll see super huge things like big galaxies and stuff like that, and stars and all these things. He's got a really good perception of everything around him. Like he's got his own chapter where he like talks about a whole bunch of things that's happened in his life. Silk Spectre, she's sort of a victim of circumstance. Hey guys, sorry for the cutoff there. My camera's having some problems. It wasn't recording my face correctly. It just sort of stopped in some place. Anywho, I'll continue. So Silk Spectre, she's a victim of circumstance. Like she was thrown into the superhero business. Not really a business because she don't make money off of it. But she was sort of thrown into that, and she always is. She's sort of like a laughing stock. She always gets, well, not a laughing stock. She's actually pretty cool, but she always just gets the bad end of everything. But there's also Ozymandias, who's smartest man alive. As that's like his motto thing. Not his motto, but it's like his I don't know how to explain it, but that's how he's known. Kind of like how Batman's the Kid Crusader. That's something similar to it. And so Silk Spectre's victim of circumstance. Ozymandias sees a world that could be better. Captain Metropolis, he isn't mentioned much, but comedian, he sees everything as a big joke. That's why he's just such a cool character, is because he sees everything as a joke. He doesn't take anything seriously because he knows how bad the world is in all senses. Like he was in Vietnam, and he had a whole bunch of other stuff. But they all got some cool views. And oh yeah, Night Owl, he's pretty much the most sane person of the group. He sees all this crime things as like a thing that he needs to help, but he kind of goes along with the group. And so the plot is that the comedian is murdered before the first chapter happens. It's not much longer. It's like a few hours before. But so he gets murdered. Some people are investigating. Rorschach finds out, and he ends up sort of like getting a little paranoid, and this starts the story. And so the setting, like I said, it's the Earth, separate Earth, higher tension with communists. And in the 1940s is when the Minutemen happened, so that sort of like started things there. They actually don't mention World War II a lot. They mention it like once. I'll talk a little about that later. And but they mention Hitler like probably 3 or 4 times, so that's kind of interesting. And it's so the tension, it's way higher than you'd expect. Like in the movie, they say, "Oh, the doomsday clock is 4 minutes away from midnight." Like, so like seems like a ton of tension there. But they won't attack because Dr. Manhattan's on the American side, who he can disintegrate things. He could separate things. Like this book here, he'd probably just like separate all the pages out and then just place it back in like it never happened. And it's got a lot of political history. It's got stuff about JFK dying, Vietnam War, Russian tension. It's a good collection of things. Also, I'd like to say this is not for kids. It's got some pretty serious tones, and there's some blood at some parts. And yeah, it's good book. It's pretty deep how like the political thing is seen, and there's just such a good mesh of characters, and the plot is displayed really well. And they show how like in 1977 there's this thing called the Keene Act, which makes every one of the superheroes become illegal except for Comedian and Dr. Manhattan. They work for the government, that's why. And they end up doing more things for the government. But so they all go into hiding stuff, but Rorschach, he's a little crazy. So he continues doing all the things, acting like it never changed. But like he sees it as like a much more right view than Comedian, who does it just with the government, just so he could do it without being punished for it. And it's a very, very fantastic book. Also, there's a bit of extra things. At the very end, they got this cute little drawing of what they call Blot the dog. You won't see that there. It's called Blot the dog, and he's got a couple lines, which is like a parody of Rorschach. That's a dog, and it says Watch Dogs at the top, which I think is pretty cute. And it's got some sketches, which I love sketches in books. I just see that, I'm like, well, that's pretty cool.
Hey, that's pretty good.
I'm so sorry. If viewers, I'm very sorry. But let me find an example here. So, yes, Hollis Mason, who's the first Night Owl, he wrote this thing called Under the Hood. And in between Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, I'm sorry, it has his book Under the Hood. I think it's Under the Hood. I was thinking Under the Red Hood for a sec, but that's totally different, even though it's still DC. Oh, now with the Rebirth thing. Actually, I'm not gonna spoil that. So, anywho, it's very good. It's got some extra stuff in between all the chapters, and there's also this comic inside this from Tales of the... Yeah, it's called Tales of the Black Freighter, and at the very end of the book, since the series ends, it changes to Stories from the Grave, I think. It's something like Stories from the Morgue, or something like that, or Tales from the Morgue. It's something similar to that. But the inner chapter columns, they're not really my thing, but I could definitely see if someone liked it, because it provides a lot of context. And I read those like for my first read through, but then when I read it the second time without that, it made it a lot better. But I'm glad that I read it the first time, so now it just made my second experience much better. So final verdict on this book is a 10 out of 10. I'm really sorry that I keep giving these. It's my third one out of like 8 reviews, I think. I'm sorry, I don't really remember this very well. But I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 from how deep it is, how good the characters are, and how even if you like don't like a character, you'll end up liking them or feel bad for them in one way or another. Like Dr. Manhattan, he seems so powerful and stuff, but really deep down, he's pretty vulnerable. how like even like words can hurt him. That's explored a lot more in the movie actually. So anyways, to the movie. So there was a bunch of actors in this, and honestly, I think the acting choices were a little odd. Night Owl's was good. Rorschach's was pretty good. His actual like face was kind of weird, but I don't want to insult that guy. He did a great job as Rorschach. There's just one scene that was a little weird, which was he's getting like talked to by a guy. But you'd probably get that if you've seen the movie, or if you haven't, then watch it. They're pretty good. Most are good, except for, I'm gonna say, Dr. Manhattan. He's okay, but he's a lot different of a view than I would have expected him. I would have expected him to have a big booming voice, like he's super scary, but like deep down he's vulnerable. But in this, he's got his original voice, only it's like monotone, and it's very like high. It's almost like a Smurf almost, and you could see how he actually seems a lot more vulnerable. And Ozymandias in this, or Adrian Veidt in the book, actually he's Adrian Veidt in both, but I just did not like him for the whole way through. He just seemed like arrogant, pretentious. He was like, yes, I am the most smart man alive, and I'm like, so that was a bad example, but he's pretty awful as a character. Like in the book, you actually like feel things for these characters, but in the movie, you don't feel anything for him. Like you see like a couple bad things happen to him. You're like, oh yes, please do that more. And the effects, oh my god, they're pretty mediocre for a 2009 movie. They could be so much better. Like this is Zack Snyder, by the way. Of course, he ruins great concepts. I don't want to say ruins, but like when you get to this low, it's ruined. But yeah, very very mediocre effects. Dr. Manhattan's okay. There's a couple parts that are okay, but like the lighting in the background is very weird. I guess it's to give it much more of a grim sort of look to the movie, but it's not done very well. And a bad thing they did is they changed the ending. You shouldn't do that. If you take it from a book, and they actually went pretty close to the actual book, but I'm sorry guys, I sneezed there. But continuing on, effects super mediocre. Could way much be better. The ending is different. Bad idea. There are actually a couple things that they did in the movie that I would have done in the book differently. Like near the end, they add Night Owl to a part where he typically wasn't there, but it was a good change. As to the rest of the changes, though, not very good. They should have just stuck to the source material. Comedian and Rorschach are the best parts of the movie. Oh, very important thing. Silk Spectre, her mother, the first Silk Spectre, I'm gonna say, her actor was like 30, and she played like an 80-year-old woman. It was just super immersion breaking, and they did that so that you could see like flashback scenes of the younger version of the first Silk Spectre, so that she looked normal almost. But it still didn't make sense. Like you could use two different actors, because in Rogue One Star Wars, they're gonna have a new actor play Han Solo. They're not gonna, well, of course, because Han Solo. Yeah, because you can't really do that to Harrison Ford. They're not gonna give him makeup and like, hey, look, he's younger. Almost like in X-Men, how Wolverine, even though his movies are taking place in the past, he's progressing in age. So they could have changed that a little bit. They could have done two actors. I would have been totally fine with that. And the movie, they take it almost, I don't want to say this, but like they take it too close to the source material. Like the source material is great. It's 10 out of 10. That's what I gave it. But they get it, like try to get it so literally that it ends up coming out a little awkward and just kind of weird. And a really poor thing they did is their fight scenes could have been better. Their fight scenes, they were like unreasonably bloody. Like you'd see some guy who'd get like punched in the face in the comic, you get this thing, and then just suddenly blood everywhere for no reason at all. And like I know like it's not for kids, but still they like hey, let's amp this up for no reason for Zack Snyder. Thanks you, Zack Snyder, for ruining everything I love. Anyway, final conclusion on the movie, I give it a 6 out of 10. You might be thinking, wow, that's a little harsh, dude. But honestly, it could have been worse. Of course, like it's Watchmen. How bad can you do it if you're this close to the source material? I honestly think they got really close to the worst you could have done with Watchmen, unless you totally changed the source material. Like Mortal Kombat 2, if any of you seen that movie, I have. It's a ride to remember. It was awful, horrendous, abhorrent even. But they strayed a little far from the source material, and they went crazy with effects that didn't make any sense. But this, they stuck so close to the source material that it almost worked. It's a kind of tiny chance. I almost give it a 5 out of 10, but there's some substantial, not the book, the movie. I almost give it a 5 out of 10, but Comedian and Rorschach are just too good. Also, Comedian has a leather mask in the book that he sometimes wears, which is actually pretty cool. It's a little weird, but it's cool looking. They don't ever use that in the movie. I wish they would have done that. But anywho, this video's gone on long enough, so I'm going to end it right here. So thank you all for watching. If you leave a like, a comment, a bunch of other stuff. Really, if you give me a comment, I'll reply. Unless you don't want me to, just say don't reply, please. But thank you so much for watching. If you would leave a like, that'd be great. And stay tuned for my next video next week. And I'll see you guys later. Arrivederci. Bye.